Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Keen Minds. We're covering NBC's The Blacklist, Season 5, Episode 16, The Capricorn Killer. I'm Jen, aka Takata Saiko.
And I am Tessa. And the Capricorn Killer is also number 19, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty highly ranked for what we got.
My theory they got nothing to do. It's a story being told, so they just fit into they just tell a story, so they fit whatever they fit. That's why you got people who are so dangerous and they're still, pretty high up. And the Capricorn Killer wasn't even going after anybody. In fact, he got pretty messed up, and that was so nice.
Yeah, I really, this episode reminded me of a cross between first season Hannibal and some of the episodes. I used to watch Criminal Minds. I tapered off maybe 5 or 6 seasons in. But along, what would happen if you mix those two shows? That was this episode
and
of Blacklist.
And Drexel. Don't forget Drexel. Dexter, I'm sorry.
Dexter, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, Drexel was Blacklist episode. Okay, Dexter makes sense. Yes.
Dexter,
the roomie actually said that. She said, isn't this kind of what Dexter does? Because she never watched it. And I watched maybe the first season and a half of Dexter. And yeah, so this is what would happen if you had some sort of crazy mix-up of Hannibal, Dexter, and Criminal Minds.
Did you like it?
It was okay, considering I felt like it was a mix-up, and 2 of the 3 shows that I felt like it was a mix-up of, I very much enjoyed for years, The episode itself was kind of cool, and I always like it when they go back to Liz's past with her profiling and pull something out of one of those cases. That's always a lot of fun to me. I like when they bring that back around. And I liked Graves. I was sorry to see him go. The cop that she'd worked with on the Capricorn case years before.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a phenomenal episode. It was tight. It was well crafted. I kind of had a feeling that therapist, there was something seriously wrong with her. We all said that, right?
When we get to her, I've got a few things to say about her.
But I, in general, found the episode very satisfying because, and this goes to why we made Keen Minds. We made Keen Minds because we found ourselves saying, everybody's seeing, there's people, not everybody, the vast majority of the casual viewers see Liz just as we do, but there is a percentage of the fandom that used to see her as this pink and perfect and doing the right thing, and she's just being led down the dark path by some bad people. And this felt
if only Tom Keen weren't there, she would be pink and perfect.
Yeah, it's just Tom that makes her like that. So it's satisfying when you go and you see, over 5.5 seasons later. We're right. We read it right.
They took Tom away and she got a whole lot worse, which is not... That's just a reflection of season 2. When they were split up, she was at some of her darkest moments until now. But at the time, at some of her darkest moments when she had him in the boat, when they were emotionally separated. And she was miserable. She was angry. She was vicious. And we said at the time, this is, well, I mean, we didn't hear because we hadn't started the podcast yet, but many of us at the time, that is what you get when you take Tom out of the picture with Liz, is raw Liz.
Tom is a stabilizing feature in Liz's life. And however, he both had darkness as well. They together were better than they were when they were separated.
Exactly.
And that was a very interesting feature to watch. And so this episode felt like, you know what? It's very nice when you're saying something that hasn't been in the super fandom. It hasn't been the most popular opinion, and one that I thought Liz is the dark character. She's even darker than Red. And we saw that when Red said you're playing house. It's except that Liz's version of it includes chains and torture for blankets and information for blankets and medical attention. So I found it to be a satisfying episode. I just found myself wondering if I somehow missed episode 15B. If there was one that I didn't watch, because it felt like you spent 4 episodes with nothing but parallels, no canon, no anything happening. Lots of parallels, but
Nothing solid.
Yeah, nothing solid. This is like a whole diet of soup. I mean, soup is nice and so is drinks, but at some point you need a little nourishment, like of the solid kind. And we weren't getting it. And then suddenly, here we go. We start the episode, and Red is in some hotel. There's some guy that he had convinced to testify to the feds about the Nash syndicate, and he got messed up. So it turned out that he actually had known Garvey before, even if he didn't know that he was a killer or that he was Garvey. This is like, what the heck is going on? Why can't you take a couple of those episodes and compact whatever it was in there and then make this into a 2-parter?
It felt like, it didn't feel like a reveal of anything. Because there's a way to write it in which you can work backstory into it and organically show that to your audience. Work it in, weave it in. And this was a comment I've made this season, that they seem to be having trouble kind of weaving things in well. And this is just another example of it. They've got things that are, this was cool and everything, finding all this story with Red and that he's had that connection before. But the way that they added that in there, exactly like you said, made it feel like we missed something. It didn't feel like a reveal. It didn't feel like we were getting backstory. It was like, wait, what? What? This is out of nowhere. What? And it could have been done better.
Yeah, I found myself like, it's like with Harry Potter. Is there, 15, track 15 and track 16? Is there a 15 and a half that I didn't know about?
3/4.
Yeah, 3/4.
9 and 3/4.
Are we missing something here? Because just felt like that was a satisfying episode in terms of we saw Liz for the first time accept her darkened nature, accept who she is, and even start assembling her little team. We saw that scene in the cabin and in the woods. It was great. It was wonderful. It's the first time that Liz has actually referred to Red as my father is doing this, my father is doing the other. There is a lot of emotional growth in Liz, yet I feel like this really needed to be a 2-parter.
Or at least just the writing needed to be tweaked.
Well, it's very hard to find a place where you could have taken anything out. It was very tight. You couldn't have taken anything out of there. Not a scene could have been made a little shorter without losing it. So I thought that really this needed, at least this part needed to go into the previous episode. The part with Red should have been part of the previous episode and get a little out of the weeds of the previous 5 episodes when we haven't seen any.
Yeah, maybe. That might have done it.
Yeah, it's just too tight. There's some that feel like that. Remember, Sal bin Hassan felt the same way. Like, there was so much crammed in there that you needed a little 2-parter.
Yeah.
So, what about the Blacklister? Because it was supposed to be the Capricorn killer, but it wasn't really the Capricorn killer.
Oh, that was definitely a misdirect there. Because, that just was the first guy that got it, Ugh, that was kind of horrific. Like I said, it very much reminded me, for anybody that watched Hannibal when it was on TV, it reminded me of season 1 of Hannibal, because they had those, they decorated with antlers. It was always this big show, and it's been a long time since I've watched the first season, but that's something I specifically remember was with the antlers, and you had the lead character that would envision it with this when he's walking through his profiling of it. Mm-hmm. And
I never watched the show.
Oh, you would love it. It's nice and twisted. But but
I'll take that as a compliment.
No, it is. It's a good. That's why I said nice and twisted. I very much enjoyed it. I don't remember why I stopped watching. It can be a bit much for some audiences. I mean, like, there's a guy that gets literally split in half and somehow survives at one point. I mean, like, it gets gruesome at points. But I mean, it's Hannibal. What do you expect? You know, I mean, you don't go into Hannibal expecting, you know, happy tones. But it very much reminded me that of the setup with the skull and just the positioning and how they were going about the profiling. And once again, with Criminal Minds, which is a profiling show. You know,
and that wasn't even the most gruesome part. I mean, what this Hollis was doing to the Sanka guy, the tri-state killer. Oh boy, that was 8 o'clock.
The sawing off the limbs is what got me. I don't do amputation. Like I have a few things that's just like absolutely not. Eyeballs, no. Teeth, no. Amputations, especially when someone's awake. Absolutely not. I don't need to hear that bone saw. Stop it. So that one got me. It's
chainsaw, yeah, just like Mr. Kaplan, except Mr. Kaplan did bodies, but hey.
Yeah, but they were also dead.
Yeah.
And
this was but you know, it's funny because it's like you can. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I said, you know what? Some of those guys, I think they really need to understand what they've done, and I don't think that killing them in a death chamber, you know, in a prison, is like adequately adds to what they've done. This feels, you know, more biblical, an eye for an eye. A limb for a limb.
I think that our system is supposed to be a little more above the fray there, but, you know, hey.
That works when it's just somebody who kills somebody else in anger, but like the guy who was killing children, oh man, yeah. I mean, are you killing me the pillow? That was too sweet.
Yeah,
that was way too sweet for that guy.
Well, I think it's because he did that to the child, so it was basically just like you said, an eye for an eye. You know, this is how you killed your people. This is how we're going to take you out as well. It was very. I've always been fascinated with the vigilante. You know, going after the serial killers. It's always been a very interesting thread for me. It wasn't not so much that I was able to keep up with Dexter, but in general, like with crime shows, I've always been fascinated with having an episode or two on that.
I don't like the serial killers, but I love when they take out the serial killers. Mm-hmm. It just feels, because a lot of the serial killers have an element of catch me if you can, and it's lovely when they finally do.
Yeah.
So it was I find really nice. Now I wanted to say something, because if you're not familiar with symbols, you might not notice this, but when they find that another one of those secret little sheds be in the back of the garage that the spouse doesn't know anything about, and they find all these shrines to the crimes, it wasn't just Capricorn. He may have used the skeletons of goats or the skulls of goats. But that was actually they had a bunch of zodiac symbols in it.
So was that supposed to be the Zodiac Killer, basically?
I have a feeling. I don't think it was supposed to be the Zodiac Killer, because the Zodiac Killer was named for something else. But what was interesting to me is that there is a part of Reddington file, and they make a point of showing it in 1.1, in which it's files on the murder of Sherry Jo Bates, and she was linked to the Zodiac Killer. She also had linked to some naval things, because the suspect or her father, can't remember which, worked in the Navy. So there was some elements there, and it was in Reddington file, Mark Reddington with big red letters. And now we're getting this Capricorn killer who's also having some zodiac signs. I thought it was very interesting. I don't think that it's meant to mean that that's a zodiac killer, but it's definitely meant as a simple reminder to go back to season 1, to go back to that red file, to think about it in any case.
Yeah, that's not something that my brain connected to, so that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So let's go into the task force. Unless you had anything else to say about...
No. No, I just love the fact that this killers were getting in, you know, what they deserve, and I love the character of Hollis. I would have liked to see more of him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like Liz said, you know, these unsolved cases where nobody's getting justice, that they just eat her up. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, we've seen that before with I mean, even the harbor master. I mean, she knew what happened. She knew exactly. She even knew that was, Tom felt like it was the only way, but it ate her up inside. I kind of wish they would go back to that every once in a while, and just, like, you know, show her still sending money off to this girl or something. I feel like they kind of dropped it. I mean, which obviously...
she set up the trust fund, and once she set it up, it's done.
I guess that's true. But yeah,
but it's interesting because we've seen a lot more cases from Liz. Remember when we were in season 1, everybody got this idea that she was just like fresh out of the boat. Nobody knew anything.
Well, it's because she was fresh out of Quantico, but apparently she had affiliations with the FBI.
She was not a field agent, like Aram, not a field agent. But an agent.
See, I still don't... Maybe I just don't know enough about how they go through the FBI training. I need to talk to people about this because she must have been liaisoning from somewhere else to have not gone through Quantico yet, and then decided to...
No, you can enter the FBI without going to Quantico if you enter as a professional...
okay.
For example, Aram was basically a IT guy, a hacker. And he actually didn't come from Quantico. He came from the NSA.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, he was...
he went to MIT.
Yes, he was recruited by the NSA and then recruited from the NSA directly by Cooper. That is in the dossier in case anybody wants to look it up. But Liz was a profiler working for the FBI. She said, I've been in the bureau for 5 years or for 4 years or something of the sort. So she was not a field agent, but she was a profiler attached to the FBI. Like this woman, she wasn't supposed to be, Fulton wasn't supposed to be a field agent. She was just a psychologist associated with the FBI.
That's true.
And Ressler is a field agent, and Cooper obviously had training to be a field agent. So they're two different things.
That's true. But no, she wasn't just fresh into all of this. She already had quite a few cases under her belt and was an expert in her field by the time she graduated from Quantico.
In fact, if you want to recount, we had the Good Samaritan killer. Mm-hmm. What is the other case? The Good Samaritan and the... there is another one of her cases. Oh my God, I'm blanking out. What's wrong with me? Hold on, you have to take that. The Good Samaritan.
It's going to drive me nuts too. Because it's, because I'll know it from the
name. Deer Hunter. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Deer Hunter. Okay, so we have the Deer Hunter. We have the Good Samaritan. Then we know in the debt collector that she was the one who put that guy in jail. It was her profile. Mm-hmm. She also got Lorca with her profile. She signals Lorca there. So she was the one who got to him.
Yeah.
And then this now she worked on the Sandman killer.
That was her first one, yeah.
And she was involved in the Capricorn killer. So we know that she has worked a lot of these things, and she was far from being this. My point about this is to drive to people that you cannot, in the Blacklist, take things at face value when you first see them. They put Liz in a wig with the long hair. They put the doll makeup on her, and they put all those very old-fashioned clothes on her for a reason. And the reason was to obscure who Liz really was. It was important that people thought she was a ingenuine and naive woman coming on to when she was being. That was very important for the show. And I always say there's a reason why they chose Megan and the way Megan looked and the way Megan acted. And they made her into the Liz of season 1. And a lot of people got hoodwinked by it. They still swear that Liz was this naive person, and if Tom were out of her life, she would be like this perfect little by-the-book woman and good agent and all that. And so it's funny to me, and it's satisfying when you see that, yes, this is going just the way we read it.
Well, it's funny because... God, just lost it. I had it, and then I lost it. We talked about, I don't remember how long ago, but we did talk about it at one point on the podcast, that, you know, both Tom and Liz in their own ways were wearing masks. It was almost like they were trying to convince each other and themselves that they fell into this role. Tom was the sweet little innocent, you know, teacher, which, to be fair, was a role that he crafted to not attract Liz. And so it didn't work. Sorry, buddy. That's where it got you. And then Liz, I mean, if she thought at the beginning, you know, at least consciously thought that, you know, he's a sweet little innocent teacher, she tried to shove all of her darkness under the rug and keep it down so not to scare him off because she really liked this guy.
Yeah. And, I mean, you know, occasionally threw a cup of coffee on him, but hey.
Yeah, throw a mug at his head. Yeah, I love that. I wish we'd gotten a flashback to that. Would have loved to have seen that. But,
Liz. You know, hey, some people do that.
Yeah, you know, some people, that's just their personality types. And
So that's all I got about the Blacklister, and I like when they bring those old cases from Liz because we're getting a lot of every one of those. We're getting a little bit. So that's all I got on the Blacklister, and I like when we get those old cases from Liz because we do get a lot of information on Liz that we haven't been privy to before. We have been referred to or not directly shown. So this is very nice. Now, we have newly minted field agent Aram.
Yeah, as much as I've been complaining about how they're not weaving stuff in correctly, they did a great job with Aram. Because we have over a year that he's been... We saw that at the end of 5A that he said, I want to train to be in the field. And then he goes into it, and he's been doing this while Liz was in a coma and, you know, while she was in recovery, et cetera, et cetera. So he is now a field-qualified agent. And I think that they worked that in very nicely.
His reactions were very different from that time where he panicked.
Forgot he couldn't drive.
Yeah, panicked computer, remembering that I can't drive.
Yeah,
so that was very good. And I gotta say that scene between Garvey and Aram was absolutely fantastic.
It was. The entire path that they took him on that, because we knew that Aram and Tom had, you know, as close as Tom was with any of them. I was always a Tesla fan, but I think Aram and Tom actually ended up with a closer friendship with Tom and any of the task force than you know, any of the rest of them. Because they had just the top level IQs. I mean, I've talked about before that with Aram, he's always having to explain things to everybody, not because they're stupid, but just because Aram's that much higher on the intelligence bracket than everybody else. You know,
and he's also very technical. And
yeah,
I remember his face when he found out that Tom was doing the car thing.
Well, and that's my point, is that, you know, he did not have to go into these typical explanations that he's so used to doing with Tom. And I think that kind of sparked an admiration for him, a friendship of sorts. I mean, they seemed to get, when they had scenes together, they got along very well. And, you know, unless Aram found out that Tom knew that Liz wasn't actually dead. But, you know, besides that, they got along very well. And so
he asserted he's like, did you know or not, in the most inappropriate moment, because he knows very well that that's a moment he's going to get an answer.
Yep. And so I enjoyed the fact that they let Aram have a reaction to that. And they showed that, when he finds out that, they have a name for this guy, and just the fact that this is the guy that killed Liz's husband. And then meeting him was just great. It was absolutely wonderful.
I mean, we've gone from Aram like pointing a gun at the director to in a very brave but shaky scene to this confident Aram. I'm sure he was a little scared, but he was not letting Garvey get the best out of him.
No, it was great. And Garvey's such a thug. It's no secret that I hate Garvey with every fiber of my character. Oh no, he's a fantastic villain. The actor is doing an A+ job, but I just want to stab him in the face.
This is a theme, guys. I don't know if you noticed.
I just really hate the character. And so we finally found a character in the Blacklist Jen hates. Garvey.
She loves to hate him.
Oh, no, I don't love to hate him. I hate to hate him. I want him dead. If he gets out of season 5 alive, I'm going to be pissed. But there are a lot of villains that I love to hate. Matthias Solomon. I never want Matthias Solomon to die because I always want that option of him coming back because he's just so deliciously...
Beautiful.
Yeah, he is very pretty. Deliciously villainous, and just, I love that. No.
Garvey doesn't have humor, and that makes it easier to hate.
He also killed Tom Keane.
Well, that for you, that definitely would count as reason number one. But you also have to admit that it's that lack of humor that
he's just a thug.
Garrick was really nasty.
Yeah.
He killed Luli when he knew very well that Luli couldn't even get him to get inside that box. He was going to kill Dembe, and that he knew Dembe because they were. They were pals. He was with Red. But he had that humor, come on, play with me.
Yeah. I loved...
Torture whatever is left of you.
I loved Ansel Garrick. But yeah, you're right. Garvey just doesn't have that. He doesn't have that draw in. And it's because he's got is power. He's a thug with a lot of power. And... I can't stand. And so when he sat there, so he was going to take him out and beat his little brown ass. And I loved Aram. First of all, it's more of a golden brown. It's topaz. Topaz, really. And I'm just like, Amir, you beautiful soul, can I hug you through my television? Because Amir is so much taller than the actor that plays Garvey.
Yeah.
Heads tall. But this guy is so intimidating. He's a big man. He's very severe looking, and he's, like I said, a thug.
He's a thug.
So I mean,
he's just going. You can tell that he's used to having power.
Yeah, and so to have this scrawny little tech guy, stand up to him, had to have just gone all over him and go Aram. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I've heard somebody in Reddit says that when that scene happened, they had to do a victory lap around the house because they were so excited about it.
The roomie and I loved it. We were both squealing, and we were like, "You touch Aram, we will kill you."
Well, it was awesome. It was. Really, Johnny Coyne is doing such a phenomenal job of playing the villain because Yet, when I'm meeting with Red, that there is a lot more to him that it seems. This is not the end. He's just not a thug. It's not because he's in drugs. That's not why he wants that back. There is more to it. And I have this uneasy feeling that we might discover this. This is all tied to Katerina, and this might be one of Katerina's targets that Red never knew anything about.
Maybe. Yeah, Garvey seems to be very proud of himself for whatever secret, whatever reason he's got behind all of this.
Yeah. And I'm sure he has his charms because that woman that was with him in the bed when he got that call was gorgeous.
Yeah, or he's just got a lot of power and a lot of money. A lot of power and a lot of money. I can buy a lot.
Yeah, but there's something about the way he acts. It's deeply personal to him. I don't know if
no,
it's
I
about
agree.
Katrina, a brother. Or,
I was just talking about the woman that you were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That can be done with power and money.
Could be. So,
So the one thing that I did find kind of odd in there, and I mean, obviously it's going to come back around because they wouldn't have used it if it wasn't. But I'm just sitting there going, these people that sent these guys out are freaking idiots, because who uses someone with, how do you pronounce it? Heterochromia, I believe it's called?
yeah.
With the dual color eyes?
Two different colors, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not exactly a common trait.
Put on glasses, pal.
I know. It's like, who does that? Put on something where you can't see the eye colors. I mean, it's like these... Like, I understand they were doing it because it's going to come back around and be useful. Like, I get that, but I'm sitting there going, these thugs were really freaking dumb.
And I gotta go and say something that I think I saw in Reddit. I am not sure. I think it was Reddit. It might have been something else. That this witness wasn't a real witness, that Red provided a covert agent.
Blacklist or 214 said it.
Thank you. That he provided a fake witness in order to have this on Garvey, so he didn't have anything to get Garvey to a deal, and so he provided one. So taking out Liz didn't make any difference because she had because it was somebody else. So it was very, very interesting, and I have a feeling that that's what it was.
I could see it. That would definitely make sense. It would be very much in Red's, bag of tricks that he uses. Mm-hmm. Something I did find interesting when Red and Garvey were talking there, he said, as long as I'm alive, he will not testify against you. And that was just very interesting phrasing there for me. And I'm sitting there going, if it was if it was a plant, then it doesn't make as much difference there. But if it was a legitimate person that was going to, going to testify against him, if he actually does have something against him, then, it's maybe leading into something.
Like what?
Well, I mean, he said he won't testify against him unless, as long as Red's alive, he won't testify against him. I am of the opinion that we're working towards that Red's going to be gone by the end of the show. I mean, it won't happen until last episode, but I don't think he's going to survive it.
That's the part that I can't make a final determination on what I think is the Blacklist is going to end, because I don't know if it's going to go the way of the spy or the way of the caper. It's that's my tough part of gender that I can't really determine. So I don't know. But yeah, I admit that's probably going to go into Aram is going to find out that he was Red, and I think that's what comes up.
That was the other thing I was going to say about that. That was part of the because he's already figured out. I mean, when he and Cooper were talking about it, Aram's already aware that Red was at least partially involved in Tom's death, that he has a connection there, just because of what Cooper was saying. And between that hero worship that he's got going on for Red, it was very interesting, and I think it will come around again, that when more comes out, suddenly Aram is not going to have quite as much hero worship for because he adores Liz. He and Liz are close, I mean, and then he was decent good friends with Tom, like I said, as close as Tom was with any of the task force. And so I really do think that's going to come around and bite Red in the butt from the task force side.
Yeah, it's definitely coming, and I don't know what is going to be the fallout from that, but definitely I think that Liz figured out that it was Red who took the witness, and I think that comes from the two-eye man in there.
The what?
The two eye color.
Yeah.
Heterochromia, whatever.
Heterochromia, yeah.
Heterochromia, okay.
So do we move into Red? Because there wasn't a whole lot on Brett. I mean, Bress got a couple of moments. I was a little disappointed because I'm definitely not a Keenler shipper, but I've always been a big fan of that friendship and the partnership there. And so, like, there was
Why were you disappointed?
I would like to see them closer again. They were pretty close season 1 and 2. So I feel like they, I mean, but to be fair, Liz has moved away from the entire task force. I mean, it's not just Ress. But, I mean, it was nice to see them together again, working together in the field.
Yeah, I find that to be intriguing that people feel that Liz and Wrestler. I know that I am in the vast minority in the super fandom thinking that. I think that they were close when it was just the two of them. But once Samar entered in the equation, I think that was not as clear cut. They certainly depend on one another, and I think Wrestler found in Liz somebody who gave him something that I'm not sure that he has ever had: compassion in like, I know you're not perfect, and I still will support you, and I will believe you. Something that he was spying on her and telling on her, and she paid him back by saying, okay, you kick your own little habit in your time, and I'll support you, and I'll be there for you. And I thought that was something that was very profound for Wrestler, but I don't know that was reciprocated equally on the other side. I never saw that, and I know that I am in the minority here, but I just, I call it as I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was. We saw it. I think we've seen it off and on, all through. Just the fact that I've just seen it in places. Yeah,
she's just they're. I in a way, it's funny because I think that Samara and him make a tremendous team. Like work-wise, I think that they work very well together. They keep each other in check, very nicely. I actually like all of them working whatever way, but I find that in the way that they think and in the way that they relate to things, I always felt that she was closer to Samar and Wrestler was closer to Samar.
Maybe. I mean, I've always been a fan of the friendships, so it's...
I'm a minority.
Of course, like I said, Liz has very purposefully moved away from everybody. She was very close to Cooper. I mean, at one time, Cooper was one of the few people she trusted and that she could rely on, and now she's hiding things from him. She's working around him. She's, And so, I mean, it's not just Wrestler. It's everybody. She's using them where convenient. She's pulling a Red. When it's convenient, she uses them. When not, she's, she just lets them go. Let's move into Red.
We're talking about Red, yes.
Well, we were talking about the task force.
Was there anything about Samar in this episode? Not really, except she was in that gruesome thing.
Yeah, she had to try to save the guy. Couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, when you've had 2 limbs amputated and a third on its way, then, I mean, while you're awake,
Yeah.
The blood loss doesn't kill you. The overrun of adrenaline will.
You know that's what he was doing to people.
Oh, no, that's true. But to sit there and watch it is still...
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. The reason why people go for the generally cleaner form of executions instead of an eye for an eye.
Yep.
So, Red was unusually honest on this episode and truthful. Because he can be honest and distrustful and not truthful at the same time.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Well, he just said, I'm going to help you get Garvey, and I'm going to prevent you from finding that secret.
Yeah, and he's not going to let Garvey get away as Garvey's walking out the door. It's... Well, that's just a stay of execution. Yeah, I'm aware, but still, So, it was interesting. Red made the comment later in the episode, said, my word is my bond, my currency. But earlier in the episode, we had the conversation between Liz, Red, and Cooper, where Liz said that she was only interested in the man that murdered Tom and finding the secret that got him killed. And Red said that he was going to help with the former and prevent the latter. Yes, super honest. But he has just been... He's been promising Liz things over and over again over the course of this show. Promised her that she'd get that dream of hers with the family, walking through the park, failed her on that. He promised that she wouldn't miss a day more with Agnes than was necessary. He's continuously making choices that cause that to fail. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm going, if that's his bond, if that's his currency, he's not doing very well with it when it comes by his daughter.
Well, it's a very complicated thing.
It is, but...
He said, the things that he promised Liz, I don't take that as being his word, his bond.
Then what is? If that's not his word, if making a promise to someone you care about isn't giving them your word, when he says
because
to her...
Because that is not up to him in a way. That
neither is anything if you go by that, because it wasn't up to him that this guy got killed because the dude at the hotel ratted him out and got the guy killed. And so, but Red said, my word is my bond, it's my currency. And so it sounded like he had failed on that because someone else screwed him over.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you
I do
draw
get
that
what
line?
You're saying. I'm not trying to say Red was unusually honest in this episode in the sense that he was very open that he is going to get Garvey and he is not going to let Liz get at that secret. That is, he's very honest there. I know that he told Liz that he was going to have that dream, and he told Liz all these things. Yet I feel that there is a difference between Red saying that. That's a father telling his daughter, you're going to have your dream. But there are so many variables in that. That's like any father telling a child, you're going to get your dream. You can't really say that and take it at the same time, at the same level as a businessman telling you, hey, I told you that you were going to get this package on this day, and you will.
I disagree with that with Red because he makes things happen. That is he manipulates situations to get things where they need to go. That is his entire business. And so if this had been anybody else, if Liz were anybody else, and she said, I am hiring you to, for this, that's the promise he's making her. He's sitting there and he's going out of his way to make these promises because he loves her. He wants her to be happy. As much as he hated Tom, he still wanted his daughter to be happy. And yet he's not, and I'm not saying that it's necessarily, Tom, I'm not saying it's 100% his fault. He was involved. With Agnes right now, Agnes staying with Scotty longer and longer and longer, and Liz falling deeper into this, that is Red. If Red were to just come out and be honest about it and stop putting, because he is purposefully acting against her with Garvey just to keep his secret. When it comes down to, is he going to choose Liz or choose himself?
The secret.
Yeah, he's always choosing the secret. And so that is my issue right now.
This is a very interesting conversation because I feel that so much of this show and so much of what Red has dawning throughout the show is that complicated path that parents have when they to start realizing their children are not kids. It's to, and in a way, I feel that Red has gone, has done baby steps, towards understanding that Liz is an adult now. But I keep having this feeling that Red knew Tom as a child.
I agree.
And
I think that's true.
And in a way, the way he always assumed things when it comes to Tom and Liz was that they were both children still, and they would do what he told them to do, if there is an adult in the room and an adult usually tells you that you trust or know, and they tell you to go do something, you're expected to go do something. And I think that Red kept that idea in his mind that they were kids. And in his mind, once he gave that warning to Tom should have just dropped it, and he doesn't get it. He thinks he has a hard time understanding the difference between family and associates. And maybe it's because they can't say dad or uncle or friend or whatever. It's Reddington, and he always calls them associates. Liz is an associate, not my daughter. So there's something there in Red that misses. So I can't quite put it in the same thing as you're making promises to an associate that you're not keeping, because to me it has that emotional component. I can't shake that feeling. Maybe it's a wrong one, but you and I have it too, and other people do that Red knew Tom as a child.
I do agree with that, because we've said it so many times that with the connections that he had with Howard and Scotty, almost how could he not, And I agree.
Like family.
I agree with your viewpoint on him viewing Liz and Tom as children and why. That makes sense. I'm still going to stand by the fact that he is keeping his daughter away from her daughter. He is choosing his own secrets above hers.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's an associate or if it's family. Either one, it's an incorrect choice. Like, he's made this promise to her. He should never have said that if he wasn't going to live by it. Either family or associate. Doesn't matter. Either one, he's screwing up on that because he's continuously choosing himself. He's just very bad at the emotional people thing. Treating people he tends to treat people like pawns in his game.
It is a very intriguing character in the sense that he can't tell Dembe why he can be honest with Liz. That's not to say that being honest with Liz is the same as telling Liz who's in that bag or what is in the bag. They may be two different things, connected somehow, but not the same. But whatever Red's secret is, I think that it stems from shame, because it doesn't matter once he's dead. Tom is supposed to go find Liz and tell him who he is.
Yeah, I definitely think it's shame, which honestly kind of ticks me off more with him. But anyway, that was something that I had in there.
And that takes us to Liz and Dr. Fulton.
Yeah. And one thing outside of Fulton, because most of her interactions this round were with Fulton and working up towards that. I thought it was interesting. It's kind of convenient. The task force has worked on cases that are highly personal since season 1. I mean, but this is the one time that Liz is not allowed to be involved in this. And so it was interesting. And maybe that's their way that they're attempting to explain why the task force never went after her killer or what have you. But they were, or her, Tom's killer and the, people that put her in the hospital. But, the task force were the ones running the operations to go after Agnes when she was missing, with Liz involved. I mean, there were so many things that Liz was smack dab in the middle of that were highly personal, because it's a very highly personal show for her. Like, everything's happening is very personal for Liz. And so I thought that was interesting that but you're too close to it. You can't possibly be the lead agent on this, Like, it makes sense from a legal situation. It was just funny.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. From a legal point of view, yeah. Because this time they didn't want to catch Garvey. They needed to catch a cop killer. But yeah, I'm wondering if the task force not involved in this investigation will have something to tie up at the end, or if it has to be in order to get the plot moving properly.
Yeah, I still don't
know why. Because it is weird.
I still don't know why they had so much time for that reset. Like, I don't know why it was 10 months that she was out.
Yeah, it's a little weird, the 10 months. I think that weather-wise, that might be what it is. That gave time to go back into winter. Mm-hmm. Because you're filming in their,
might have been.
leaves of the tree. Yeah. And everybody's like cover up and all that. And Dr. Fulton.
God's woman.
I mean, the woman gave me the creeps from the beginning.
She's an interesting character that way. Like, there's always been something a little wrong with her. See it working behind her eyes. But,
She kept talking about painting outside the lines, and it was like an obsessive thing with her.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was really hoping Liz was playing her. I was really hoping we're about to get super smart Liz working around her, manipulating her into what she needed her to do, and that's where I was hoping this was going. I was a little bit disappointed in the fact that it was the other way around, and Liz's reaction to it. That, no, that can't be, was so over-the-top cheesy. for a woman that has spent 5.5 seasons, 4.5 seasons, being manipulated by everybody that walks across her path. It's like, really? You're not used to this by now? Are you that shocked? Just because it was someone that came into your life? Like, you should be watching for this by now. I felt like she trusted her a little. She trusted her a little too easily. I felt like and it may just be that she's in desperate need of someone to bounce things off of, because Tom's dead. She can't trust Red. She can't trust the task force with this. And so she has no one that she can, and so she just latched onto Fulton. But it just, I guess it's expectations. It just frustrated me.
I was fine because I was seeing him. I was seeing her go, for example, with Red, and I'm like, that is so unprofessional. What is this woman playing at? Yeah,
we talked about that. Because it was. Yeah. It was just, you're sitting there going, you were obviously bad at your job, so. And I still want to know exactly what set her off with that. I mean, because she called him a glorified serial killer, and considering she goes after serial killers, what does that mean? But it also makes me hesitant for Liz to trust this woman continuing on. I mean, I know there's the give and take there of she let her go and now Fulton has reinstated Liz, but to basically start her in building her own team like Red has, I felt like that might have been a very poor choice for, like, I'm okay with Liz having these people. It's just, I'm not sure Fulton was the best choice to begin that. I'm not sure how far she can trust her.
They seem piece of a pod.
Maybe.
I mean, Fulton isn't out there killing like innocent people. They're, in a way, Fulton and Red are very, very similar. Like Red said, when the 86 bodies, not a single innocent soul in there. There was none in there that you would say, damn, they were so innocent. They didn't deserve that. Yeah, most of them deserve that and worse. So I was fine with that. I love that twist when the detective and that Red is getting. What did you think about Red getting those files so quickly and easily?
That's Red. I didn't really think one way or the other about it. It's just Red. He has so many connections.
How about if Red is with Fulton? Could Red be involved with Fulton?
Maybe.
Like they both got the correct.
And maybe that's why she put on a show with it, possibly. In which case it would just be another manipulation by Red, and now he's got someone on the inside. I could see that.
Yeah, there is something in that relationship that I'm not convinced we've seen the end of it. She's certainly very interesting. And obviously Red has somebody on the inside, something we've said over and over, and is the reason why Cooper went for this blood sample and not any blood sample taken in there, because obviously it just reinforcing a lot that Red is actually running a covert mission for the FBI.
Maybe. I'm still not sold on that one.
Oh, no. I know.
There will be answers at the end, though. I hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe there will. It depends on John's mood.
What do you think about the acting, Megan Boone's acting in this episode? I mean, in general, since 508, what have you thought, and particularly of this one?
Overall, I think she's been excellent. Just absolutely A+ game. Like I said, that no, it can't be was a little cheesy, but I think that might have been more the writing. I mean, I'm not sure how you would deliver that and it not come out super cheesy. So I mean, that's not really on her.
And the funny thing to me was how she was able to completely go under the radar with Wrestler and Samar. There she is. Oh, there's a blanket over her shoulder.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, she just let this woman go with all the intentions of saying, yeah, well, next time, now you owe me.
Yeah, and after the guy that Graves that she'd worked with, so, previously, I don't know if they were partners of any kind or if they just had run across for this one case. We don't have those details, but she knew him. And he's dead on the floor, and she comes in and asks about him, thankfully, but, she just let the person that was, ultimately responsible for his death go. Well, maybe not ultimately, partially responsible.
He took that up. Yeah. He took that job. Obviously, he liked it. There he was, cutting somebody's leg off, but
Graves, the cop. The FBI agent.
Okay, yeah.
Graves. No,
but he was not dead.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was just wounded.
Nope. When she walked in, I think she asked Wrestler, and Wrestler gave the shrug of "There's nothing we could do. He's gone."
Oh, I thought that was Harris.
I don't believe so.
Harris was killed.
No, Graves was too. I don't think Graves got out alive. I just rewatched the episode. I mean, I specifically looked for it because I wasn't sure.
Okay. See, I rewatched it when I got to the cabin. I mean, to be fair, I was paying more attention to Liz's reactions to things, but I thought that he was alive, and
not as far as I saw. Like I said, I just rewatched it. I just rewatched the
Harry is the one that is killed.
I think they both were. They were both killed.
Okay, I gotta rewatch that. So if that is the case, then that is pretty
cold.
Because that's been more than cold. I mean, that you're talking about a good cop doing a good job, a guy who was not afraid to go after one of their own. Mm-hmm. By all means, one of hers, and obviously she's becoming now one of hers is his own people. It's, she's becoming more and more like Red.
Yep. So yeah, that was pretty cold. Pretty harsh.
I gotta rewatch because I was really like focusing on this and didn't realize that. I thought that Harris had been killed. I saw him like being shot, but not. Oh, that is bad. But that's Liz is. I put together a little set on Tumblr of lists of moments in season 1 that we've seen that Liz in comparison with naive Liz and Liz now. And I tell you, I mean, you see it from the episode 1. I mean, when she runs over the freelancer with a cab and she gets out of there feeling like, I'm so proud of myself. That was there. It was right there. So I think that a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of complaints with Megan Boone's acting, and I think people should really go back before they open their mouth and say things like that. They should go back with the knowledge they have now and see the episodes back in season 1, because you realize that she's actually playing a very, very difficult to play character.
Oh yeah, I think her acting has been done very well.
Job.
Yeah, I haven't seen the complaints, but I also haven't gone looking for them either. So, but no, I had no problem with her acting. I think she's done very well this season. I think she gets better every season.
She's getting very scary. I mean that she's making a very, very scary Liz.
Yeah,
scary for different reasons that Red is. It's just there's something that she plays with the eyes that make you feel like, I don't know, this woman can do anything.
Yeah. Well, Tom got that look
that's
too.
All I got.
It's funny because it's a very similar look that Tom used to get when he was, about to, carve a...
Pop someone?
Yeah, carve a spider tattoo off a neck or something like that, or,
Yep.
Go after little Nico.
Yeah, like, you know what? If I'm going to do that, let's have fun doing it.
Yeah, it's something in the eyes. It's hard to describe what it is, but yeah, I know the look you're talking about. Yeah, Megan's done well. That's all I've got.
That's all I got. I'm very excited about next episode. This is the second time that we're going to see Liz purposely go attacking Red. And I'm really excited to see that scene, because it's in that little preview that we saw. There is something in Red's eyes that tells me he's seen this before in Katerina.
Well, I mean, he saw it in Liz when she stabbed the pin into his neck in the pilot episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's funny. It always comes back around to Tom. The man's dead, yet he's still driving the show.
Yep. I said that to people when they were so excited, the haters, they were so excited that he was gone. I said, oh, yeah, he might be gone, but guess what?
Yeah, I got an ask the other day about if I thought that Tom was coming back or not, and I said, no, I don't, because he's signed a contract. Ryan has. And the thing is, in the statement I made in the response, I said, obviously they didn't feel like Red's secret was enough to keep audiences in their seat. So they killed Tom off, and he's dead, but he's effectively driving the entire storyline now. I said, okay. All right, then. Yep.
So, with that, I guess we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, we've got a hiatus, and so we will see you then. Until then, you can catch us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook, and you can listen to us on SoundCloud, YouTube, and iTunes.
Until then, enjoy the hiatus, if that is entirely possible. Rewatch.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.